Welcome back to Bare Grounds Homestead. It's been a little while since we put out a video, but trying to get things going again. I know you saw some of the stuff that we had going before. The hogs, out of the 3 hogs, we butchered 2 of them. We ended up getting like 569 pounds of meat off those 2 bigger boys, and we kept the runt. And he's actually growing some now. He doesn't have those 2 big ones stomping him in the mud. But today I got to trim a little bit on the tomato plants in the garden, and I'm going to take some of the bigger trimmings and I'm going to replant those, and just to kind of do some succession planting, just to have a couple of tomato plants. Once these get done, I'll have some more coming on. But let me just show you a little bit what's going on. They're looking pretty good, considering we started them from little teeny starts that I had that were, they finally got root bound in the greenhouse, but it just never got warm. I mean, we kept having frost, and then when it did warm up, I had to get them out of the greenhouse and get them in the ground, and boy, they have grown like gangbusters. But I'll show you here in a second. I harvested some garlic this week, and I've still got a few, I guess maybe about 40 or 50 garlic plants left, but they aren't ready yet. They'll be ready by middle of June. But my tomatoes are doing really good. I mean, they have just, holy cow, I've got little clumps of green tomatoes everywhere. And shoot, next thing I know, all these are going to be over my head before I know it. And it's just nice looking in here and seeing all kinds of little tomatoes, and even my little cherry tomatoes that volunteered, they're starting to get little bitty flowers, and some of them already have a few tomatoes on them. But not bad. And I've got a total of about maybe 25 plants, and that'll give us plenty. And the echinacea flower made it through the winter, thank goodness. My other one didn't, but I'll be harvesting those flowers and dry them and grind them up for tea for next winter. But got one crazy wild lettuce growing right here. That thing's over my head, fixing to go to seed. But the strawberries, it's still a fight now with the mice. Even though I've got barn cats and it's overflowed the pool, it's a fight to get to the good strawberries before the mice do. And my little bell peppers aren't growing real big, but I've already harvested some bell peppers off of them that are big enough to eat. And the cucumbers are looking a little sad. They need a little water, but I got about 8 cucumbers off of them yesterday. They're the straight 8s, so they're doing pretty good. A lot of Carmen's herbs are coming on good. Her oregano and stuff survived the winter. But don't have much of a garden this year, but I'll just keep adding stuff to it as we go while it's still growing season. Just got to look underneath here a little bit, just see some of the lower ones that need to get trimmed up, and if there's any suckers that are coming, I'll trim some of them off too. But a lot of these lower ones still looking pretty healthy. It's just keeping them up. But boy, I've got some nice tomatoes up underneath there. That makes for some, a couple of these will make for some nice transplants. Just put these aside, and the better ones I'll just save and put them in the ground. It's looking a little funky. We'll trim that out. I just take them, toss them out, and get them with the mower. But yeah, still plenty of bees working the flowers and stuff, so I'm having pretty good. We're going to get a pretty good crop of tomatoes this year. This row's not too bad. A couple little small ones under here need to be trimmed up. Boy, I tell you what, I ought to just take that whole part of that whole stalk. Some suckers in there.
anything that's getting low that wants to try to touch the ground. Well, that's a nice one right there. Put that one in the ground.
But had a couple little cherry tomatoes volunteer. They're just left over from last year, and I staked them up, see how they'd look. They seem to be coming along pretty good. So, but that helps the airflow up underneath there.
And then it worries more about growing fruit than growing branches.
Tell you what, we got them all for free, so can't complain about that. Well, let's try to transplant some of these trimmings that we cut off of there. Got one big one and a couple of decent little healthy smaller ones. But yeah, the bed has been amended already this fall with bone meal and wood ash and leaves, and use mushroom compost and our compost from the chicken coop. So it's pretty, doesn't need a whole lot. We'll add some earthworm castings, and that really makes for a nice start, especially for some of these ones like this. Give them a nice big scoop. That'll get them. And that'll give them a pretty good start, at least until we get some rain on them. But I'll get a watering can and water those in real good. And that should set them. But I may go ahead and set a couple tomato cages on them, just to be on the safe side, just so they start getting some size to them. But anything around them to help support them once they get some size to them. It's easier to get them in, get the cages on them now than once they get big and bushy. So these are the better boys, the trimmings from them, so they're pretty sturdy tomato plants. But I'll get the can and water those in, and they'll be ready to go. And plus, with the rain we're supposed to get this evening, that should set them pretty good. Well, that takes care of that. The trimming will help those. We'll see how those little transplants do. Hopefully, like I said, that rain that's supposed to be coming this evening will help out a lot. Helps with everything in the garden. And I've got a lot of weeding to do as usual, I swear. But I like to weed after it's rained. It softens up the ground a little bit, makes them come out a lot easier. Well, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and if you have subscribed, we appreciate it. And till next time, we'll see you then.